This is In Touch with Terry, a power-packed podcast for the medical aesthetics industry.
I just discovered your podcast, and I feel like I've hit a gold mine.
This is someone who's got a lot of knowledge. She's been there, done that.
Terry Ross is a former Fortune 500 executive, international speaker, founder and co-CEO of Apex Platform, and Terry Ross Consulting.
Just listening to her energy and her passion and just how hardcore she is.
Her knowledge of the industry and just her connections in general are phenomenal.
In Touch with Terry will bring you solutions to increase operational and employee efficiency and practice profitability. Plus, features some of the top industry experts as guests.
The Apex team literally changed the game for us.
Terry, your courses and your podcast are just so helpful.
She made me feel like I could do this.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Now, here's Terry.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Thank you so much. This is Terry Ross. We're here again with In Touch with Terry. And today I am super excited. I know I say that every time, but every time I'm really excited because I always want to bring, as you know, experts, innovation, authenticity, things that are going to bring value to you in your practice. And so today I am super jazzed to join a longtime friend of mine, a colleague from the aesthetic industry, an OG of mine, Tim Waite. We go back to our days. I know we're like aging ourselves. Our Medisys days, which is now Galderma, talking about a super duper hot topic and an industry and a market that is growing exponentially, not just the aesthetic space, but hair loss. And I'm coming at you from kind of a personal story that I'll share with you guys and how Tim and I ran into each other, but he's doing some big things and working for a company that I really was just intrigued. And I was like, I must have you on the show. So Tim, hello, hun. Welcome so much. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Terry. Good to be here.
Okay, so you and I have not seen each other in how long?
Other than the meeting, the AMSPA meeting in January, I think before that, it's probably been about 10 years at least.
Oh my God. Yes. Well, Tim has an amazing history, guys. And I have his bio that I could really read, but I would love for him to share a little bit. You know, I always love to credential everybody why you should stay and listen to this podcast. So please tune in. Please tune in for a couple of reasons. One, if you are a new med spa and, you know, thinking of something to offer in your practice. Number two, if you are a growing med spa and you're still always looking for innovative technologies to bring into your practice, value-added services to bring in your practice, you know that my intention always is to never bring you bullshit, but to bring you, one, things that are going to be valuable, two, that you can do a treatment plan, three, you're meeting market demand, and four, that you're able to make money. Okay. You know that I have those four intentions always. So Tim, I would love if you could tell my tribe a little bit about you and your history, your background. It's pretty impressive. And then what you're doing today.
Yeah, I started as a sales rep. A friend of mine was a sales rep for Allergan back in the day. And I moved to Houston. So I had to get used to a little new culture down south, I grew up in Indiana. So started there and I was a rep. I called on 2 medical centers. So I got a real education from some high-level docs about how to conduct yourself, what I need to talk to them about, et cetera. And that first year was, I would say, really horrible because you just feel you just don't know enough, et cetera. But it all comes to fruition. You know, you start to gain steam, momentum, you know what you're doing. And then it just took off from there. And then I moved into management. And eventually I worked in Texas for about 8 years, a rep for 4 and a manager for 4. I had the number one region. And what I learned was that people make the difference. And I hear you talk about that on your podcast all the time, about how people make the difference. And when you have great sales reps working for you, they taught me a number of things. So I moved to corporate at Allergan because I wanted to move up the corporate ladder and eventually became head of sales over there. I ran training. I did marketing for a while. So I really kind of learned the business from ground up, because I think to effectively run a business, it helps if you understand the different aspects of business. Mm-hmm. Did managed care for a while, et cetera, and then moved at a higher level. And then eventually I left Allergan after almost a 17-year career and moved to Arizona as I got recruited by Medisys. And I was recruited to start their whole training department. So I basically started training from scratch. And I've heard you talk many times about the importance of training with your employees, and that is so important. I held the belief that if you have a well-trained person, that exudes confidence with them, and the confidence comes through to the customer, and that is so important. So basically did that, and then eventually became head of sales over at Medisys for 10 years. I was there a total of 12 years. And, it's interesting when you work for two different companies. Allergan was about hiring the next CEO. They wanted to hire these people that could grow and develop into higher positions. Medisys was all about the customer. And I can tell you, Terry, when I was at Medisys, I probably hosted so many, that's probably why I gained 30 pounds, because I hosted so many corporate dinners with customers, but I really learned how to talk to customers. What is their interest? What is important to them? What are some issues they're dealing with? And really, then it helped me help the sales team sensitize them to what customer needs were, et cetera. And then I moved into the startup business. I ended up going to a company called Onset. It was a startup dermatology company. I helped build that up for 4 years, and then we ended up selling to Valiant. And then we did another startup with Encore Dermatology, built that up, and then we ended up selling that to Primus Pharmaceuticals out of Scottsdale. So I decided to leave Arizona, move to Florida. That's where my son is and grandchildren, and basically Revian kept calling. I hooked on with them, and I started with them July last year, and I've been having fun ever since. So now I'm back to selling. I don't manage anybody. I am back to selling, networking, etc., and I'm really enjoying myself.
Well, that is great. And, what I really want to impress upon is your background. I mean, clearly two of the market leaders at the time, Allergan, Medisys, now Galderma, right? Some big players in the industry. So I love that you have such a vast experience with, companies that have been around for a very long time, big global corporate companies, and then two startups. And that takes entrepreneurship, and I really love what you're saying, because it's very easy. I think there's so many reps in this space, and it's very easy to sell a product that may have its own legs to stand on, but it's really how do we talk about the value and what it can do for the practice? And I think that ever since we launched Apex, and even when I've had Terry Ross Consulting these past 10, 12 years, it's, people may not want to hear this, but look, as I say often on stage, being in aesthetic medicine, it's still a business. This isn't a nonprofit organization, and we have to make money, right?
Yes.
We have to make money, and we have to understand the benchmarks, and we have to understand the numbers, and we have to train our team. It's ignorant if we don't. I mean, let's be honest. And we get so used to spending money in all the wrong areas sometimes. And it's really just taking it back to the basics a little bit and seeing such opportunity. So I think that, from running into you at the Medical Spa show, the big show in January, thank you so much, by the way, for showing up and coming to my talk.
I have to share with your audience, if they have not seen you speak, it's an interesting dynamic, because I think I was sitting in the audience and I'm like, did she just drop the F-bomb? I wasn't sure. This is going to be an interesting talk. But I think what that does is it shows your people, your audience, that you're real and what you're speaking from the truth, and you're just going to be yourself. And I think that's what they come to see and listen to. So
thank you so much. Well, I appreciate that. And it's interesting, because that is the feedback I get from every walk of life and every diversity and every ethnicity. And I love it so much, because I am who I am, and it is from the heart. I'm so passionate about what I do. And at the end of the day, it's only about helping people. And I don't know any other way sometimes, but I make it fun, and it's from experience. And like you said, it's so much better when you were talking about going from sales and then running a sales department and a training department. It's not like you've read a book or I read a book. Like, we've done it. We've done all these roles. And I think it lends to a position of credibility and authenticity and where we can bring value. So Tim, I know that you're with this new company, Revian, and I'm super excited for the tribe, even myself, to learn more about it. You've been there for almost a year. July will be a year that you've been there. And I was doing some research, and I see that it's won multiple awards. And I have to laugh, because you and I had this conversation. And from a personal note, for those of you that are in the hair restoration business, or again, are wanting to offer something to your patients. Look, at the end of the day, this isn't going away. It's growing exponentially. And I had COVID twice. I got it in March of 2020 when it first came on board. And I recently got it again in January, and I was very sick. And I lost my hair. And I didn't really know why. So not alopecia, not like losing chunks of hair, but like my hair was really long and it started to really thin out. And I had no idea why. And I've went to see many doctors, and they were explaining it to me in ways that were well over my head clinically. But they talked about, right, having this high fever and what it does to your immune system, which mine is shot, and all these things happen. So obviously I have a personal connection to Tim, as a colleague and a peer for many, many, many years. But then I was just very intrigued by this technology. So Tim, what is your thoughts on the global hair loss market and as it relates to the growth in aesthetic medicine?
As we talk to more providers, we hear it's a growing problem. And it's interesting that we talk to some practices as I'm trying to expand our reach, and many have not really addressed hair loss yet. Well, we get questions from patients, et cetera. And I find myself thinking, well, this is an opportunity for them, because if patients are asking you about hair loss and you're not treating it, they're just going to go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So I think, and a part of why I'm here is because we wanted to start pushing Revian through the professional sector. My focus is basically dermatologists, plastic surgeons, med spas. And that's where we want that level of expertise to exist there so they can educate patients. And that's basically my main thrust, is why I'm here, and our focus is there. But this problem, as I've gone through, it's becoming bigger and bigger. More people I talk to, you find out I have hair loss. That this is just a very difficult thing for me to deal with. And you know what actually shocked me, Terry, is I would say that the purchases since I've been here of our Revian cap, I would say majority, or at least over 50%, have been from female patients. And it's a growing problem, whereas females didn't have many options before, but now they're taking control and saying, enough's enough. I'm going to look into this and do something about it, because, and I'll say this, I think it affects females more than males.
And Tim, can you elaborate? Is there a difference between hair loss, alopecia? Like, what are the different spectrums of what a patient or a client would face? And where would this technology meet the demand for that?
Well, they start to, as you know, with females, they start to lose it right in the middle of their head, and that gap starts to widen. That's really where you see it. Whereas in males, it's usually at the crown and then up above the eyelids here in this particular area. And so the front of the scalp, and that's where it starts to recede. It's interesting because one of the things that Revian does is it stops hair loss, because this is not going away. It's like, as you age, you're going to continue to lose hair as you go through. The one nice thing is we help stop that. It's like, okay, first let's solve the problem. Let's stop hair loss. Then let's start growing new hair. And that's what we do. And I think that's really, in fact, I'll tell you a quick story. We had a couple clients last year that had ordered the cap. They used it for 6 months, didn't really think it did anything, and they sent it back because we offer a 6-month fully guaranteed refund. They ended up buying it back, because what they found was they were losing hair when they stopped using it. So it really does go to the part of we do stop hair loss.
I love that. I don't know that I've ever even heard that before. Now, okay, there's other things on the market, as you know.
But the majority of devices that you see are laser device caps. They're basically, and with lasers, they're more pinpoint in their accuracy. So you'll see, like, for example, capilla's might have 3 versions, like the Capilla's Pro and the Capilla's 27, whatever, but there's like many different versions. What they do is they continue to add little diodes underneath the cap that try to expand their coverage. With LED lighting, we have 119 LED lights within our cap. And basically what this does, LEDs provide uniform coverage. They bathe the scalp, so every hair follicle is touched. And this cap is so lightweight and easy, you don't have to have another model because we have the perfect one already.
Well, I love it, and I've used it. I love the way it fits, the way it looks, and I love what you just said, and I think that's so interesting. And I really think that more people just need to be educated around the technology and what it's capable of doing and its potential in the market. So how does the Red system work?
So basically, you download the Revian app on your phone. So that's step one. And it's usually off of Google or Apple iStore. You just download it on your phone. Then basically you put on the cap. Well, you have to charge it up. Usually we say charge it up for a full 24 hours and usually get 2 or 3 uses out of it. You put your cap on your head, you start the device, and basically the cap starts to the device or the app on your phone. And it's just 10 minutes a day. Now, we also tell people to start, and we have them take a picture of the top of their head through the app to establish a baseline. So basically, okay, let's show, here's where I'm at. And then every 30 days, take a photo and see how you progress. So I can see, here's my progress 30 days later, 60 days, 90 days. And that's the beautiful thing with the app is the app not only helps you be compliant, and this is something that, I've heard compliance my whole life, being in the medical derm industry. You got to use your product to get better. And if you don't use, and some people have said, well, this thing doesn't work. Well, you've only used it 10% of the time. You have to give it a chance. And we can track people's progress. But basically, if you're 80% compliant, and it's 10 minutes a day, every day, and that's all you can use. You can't go over. And basically, it also tracks your usage every day. So you can see days you've missed. You can set daily reminders. So the app really helps them manage their use of the cap, helps manage compliance, and basically they can track their progress. And it's great. It's really groundbreaking. It really is the difference maker.
Well, I love that too, from the accountability piece, right, of what you just said. I mean, we know, we hear it all the time. This laser doesn't work and that cool sculpting thing doesn't work. And half the time it's just the lack of compliance. And I think it's so simple, especially as a female, if you're saying that this is the biggest market, and I'm sure it'll expand into men, but you're watching TV or you're putting on your makeup, or, it's so easy to do 10 minutes a day, where we can really look at ourselves and, again, track it on this app. So,
and they can wear it around the house. If they have to go get a cup of coffee, they can have it on their head, and it's operating for 10 minutes. So they don't have to sit in one spot. They can move around. They can even drive to work with it on and do it on their way to work.
Maybe you want to wear that hat if you're really trying to get with your spouse and I don't know. Listen, people might,
It's not a derby, I can tell you that, right?
I don't know. Some people might be into some role play shit. I mean, right? We're always keeping it real here on In Touch with Terry. Okay. So we talked a little bit about other devices on the market. You mentioned a few things about lasers. Is there any other technology that would be competing, that's different? And again, as it leads really into the hardcore features and benefits of this product.
We kind of classify ourselves as at-home therapy. And if you look at, there's many different products that are available. There's oral prescription products they can use. There is topical products they can use. Obviously, there's surgical procedures, whether it be PRP, microneedling, any hair restoration surgeries. All of those cause inflammation, etc. And we think that we're a great alternative because we always say, okay, there's surgical care, but do you have at-home care for these patients as well? And that's we think the missing piece. That because we also we reduce inflammation, we increase blood flow, and we inhibit DHT production, which, as anybody knows in hair loss, DHT is the bad name in hair loss. And basically, by inhibiting it, we help stop. That's how we stop hair loss, because we block DHT. So the key is, and also we look at. I've been taught that hair loss is a multifactorial approach. I've had some providers say you can't throw enough at these patients for them to use, and I believe in using a lot of things to see what works for them. and help build their confidence and help grow their hair back. So in many cases, they'll probably start them off on 2 or 3 things at once, which is a smart move.
No, if you saw how many pills I take with this, your product, I have so many things, but I mean, honest to God, I think it's all working. I feel like my hair has honestly never felt better, thicker, shinier, truly. Like I'm really happy and impressed because I went to the dark side. My hair was so long and so healthy before. Then I lost it. I put in extensions and oh my God, I was like, okay, well then that, took a toll, not for very long, by the way, but still like it's, I think all these things really do help. So let's get down and dirty now as it relates to who is your target customer.
So we basically call on 3, whereas we focus on the dermatologists. And it could be even in a medical derm office, they're getting patients coming in saying, I have hair loss. Do you have anything for this? Can you recommend anything? Patients are coming in looking for advice. Plastic surgeons who do a lot of hair restoration surgeries, or any office that does a lot of cosmetic procedures, any office that does a lot of PRP procedures, microneedling. Those are the areas. And we focus a lot recently. That's why I was at the Med Spa meeting, because I believe that is a growing market. And I think we could be a good addition and help them out tremendously, because many do PRP. Many treat hair loss. I know they treat an abundance of conditions. And I think we would be a great fit there. So those are really the 3 target audience that I am going after, myself, the company. But that's where my focus is.
I love it. So let's talk about the financial benefits. How is it positioned? How do practices position this product? And then how is it purchased? And what is the upside revenue potential, let alone the clinical effects? And I do want to talk about that and get into a little bit more specifics.
So they have 2 ways they can do it. Our first is our Revian affiliate program, where let's say a spa can sign up, and basically they just sign an agreement and they agree to represent Revian. And basically, so if a patient comes in, and it's free to sign up, there's no cost. They don't have to carry any inventory in their office. And basically a patient comes in, if they deem that patient a good candidate, they present Revian. They give them a referral code. Now, the retail price is $1,495. We offer our customer base a discount referral code of $550. So the patient only pays $945. They provide we provide them their own. So it would be like Terry Derm. That would be your discount code you give to somebody. Basically, they take it, they go to the website, put in Terry Derm. It takes $550 off their price, and they purchase it for $945. So they go to the website, they purchase it, so the practice doesn't have to concern about that. The other nice thing is we provide all customer support. Anything goes wrong with the cap, we fix. If there's a defect in the cap, we replace. Things of that nature. So we basically take care of, because one thing I learned calling on dermatology, keep the hassles out of my office. I'm too busy seeing patients. Make this mainstream for me. And that's what we've done. So that's the first way they can get. And also each practice receives $200 commission for every patient that signs up using their code. So if you sell basically 5 caps in a month, that's $1,000 additional revenue for that practice. The other way they can get Revian is basically by signing a reseller agreement, and then they would bring in 10 caps to the office and basically sell the caps directly to the patient. And they would pay $645 per cap, and they can sell it for the affiliate price of $945, or they can bundle it with PRP and sell a little higher. If they want to increase their profit margin, it's completely up to them.
Okay, so I'm curious about that last part, because it sounds like it's more advantageous financially. I want to make sure I'm clear. So if the practice orders 10 caps at $645, I can turn it around, right? I'm Dr. Terry. I turn it around and I can mark it up, and I can position it with PRP or whatever else I want to. And then that additional money would be mine.
So basically, if you decided to mark it up to $11.45, then your profit is basically $500.
Okay, and for doing nothing, I mean, ultimately doing nothing. That it's an at-home procedure. So, guys, listen. this is good stuff. I mean, really good stuff. Clearly, I'm always, I can't impress upon it enough. I'm always about number one, stuff that works, right? A treatment that works, adding value, but we have got to increase the bottom line. We have got to not be reducing our prices, discounting prices, feeling like patients won't pay. They will pay. I promise you. The price is never, ever, ever the issue when it's about like perceived value and the solution that you can offer. So that is pretty amazing, Tim. I mean, I think that's awesome. Do you have clients choosing one way or the other? Or is it really practice dependent on if they want to carry, if they want to put out the money to buy 10 caps? I mean,
yeah, I think the majority have gone on the affiliate model, but so a number of people are starting to take a more of a closer look at the reseller model and saying, I think I could stock this in practice. I think they were worried about were they going to be able to sell it, because it's a higher priced item. Because, if you're selling, let's say, Nutrafol in the office or minoxidil, obviously they're lower prices. A $9.45 price tag to some patients makes them stop and think. But if you look at the overall cost, you pay that and you own it, because guess what? You're using this the rest of your life. Hair loss is not something that, okay, I'm going to do for 6 months, I'm good. This is because I've been asked at many conventions, well, how long do I go the rest of their life? They're going to use Revian the rest of their life. And the other thing, so it's 10 minutes a day because that's what it takes. It's like we work on our nutrition, our diet, our health. Same goes with your hair.
I love those analogies and I use them all the time. I think that in this state of affairs of business, and I think, again, because we are a cash-based business, that we often get so busy working in it, not on it, and we make all these excuses. We don't have the time. But you just said it. Nobody goes to the gym for a month and you like lose 10 pounds, and then you're like, oh shit, I'm just going to stop. I mean, you're right. It is a. You got to keep going. It's a lifelong.
We also offer a 6-month money back guarantee, so it's like a trial period. So after 6 months, if you're not happy, you return the cap, you get a full refund. So I think there's kind of a safety net built in for the patient. Goes, okay, I'll try this, but if it's working, they're not going to give it up. And we also have a financing option called Klarna on the affiliate model, where they pay $79 a month for 12 months and they own the cap after a year. So we really try to be flexible with practices and to help make it easier for their patient population.
I love all that. And you're giving them really an opportunity to, why would anyone turn this down unless they really just feel it's not a benefit? But I think all of the features and the benefits and the usage and the financing and the benefit to the practice are tremendous opportunities. How are practices it's great you provide all this support to the client, me, right? Whoever's taking it home. How do you support the practices from an education perspective and how they educate their clients in terms of what is the value? And I know you guys are a relatively new company, but you're running sales now. So what assets or tools or training do the practices get?
So we provide them brochures when it's basically a marketing kit when they sign up. Placards that can go in the waiting room, brochures where the patient can read up and learn more about this and ask your provider about this. So it kind of is like little teasers in the office. We also provide an onboarding call for any new practice that signs up. And we offer free training to every member of the practice. And, it's interesting, Terry, because you talk about training a lot. It's some practices, the last couple we signed up, I think Jennifer, my colleague, has trained like 15, 17 people within one practice. That's amazing. That's a practice that's serious about everyone is going to know about this and know how to talk to patients. So that is awesome. And we offer a free Starbucks card, $10 if they complete the training. Because, if you're more knowledgeable about stuff, you can talk comfortably to the patient about it. We also offer marketing materials where they can post on their Instagram, their social media post. So to help market Revian, to make that look more efficient. We also provide a physician locator map where their practice is now on our physician. So if a patient types in a zip code, they'll find the practices that carry Revian, and the patient can call that practice and say, I want to come in and look at this.
Well, I'm sold, even though I already have one. I'm picking up what you're throwing down, and I might buy another one. No, I mean, this was fantastic. And I took like such copious notes because I really kind of want to recap. And I think I have one last question before I do that. From a clinical outcome perspective, I know you said it's, every day for 10 minutes for the rest of your life, but do you have statistics on the growth or what patients have seen in terms of that growth?
Yeah, we did a multi-center randomized double-blind placebo-controlled study. We compared it to a red laser device, minoxidil, 5% foam, and finasteride. And over a 16-week period, we grew 26.3 hairs per centimeter squared, more than red laser device, which is 16.3, minoxidil 16.2, finasteride 11.6. And basically, the hairs grown per centimeter squared is the metric they rely upon the most and use in a majority of well-controlled hair loss clinical trials. It was done by Rodney Sinclair out of Australia. We're looking to publish this sometime this year. But we back up our rhetoric because we have the study that shows it works. And the other interesting thing is, of all the caps purchased, the return rate is around 5%.
So very low.
Now, I'm not saying we show 95% efficacy, but that's what the data shows. So I think that looks pretty good.
That looks incredible. And I love the study to support it and back it up. So, Tim, this was incredible. I am so honored to, again, reconnect with you. Thank you for showing up at my talk. And I am super excited to continue to use this product myself. And for my tribe, I hope that you guys took this in. I mean, I just want to recap. I mean, I think that Revian's product is like stopping hair loss, 119 LED lights, uniformity coverage. I mean, I could go on and on. I mean, an opportunity for you to, one, in my opinion, I'm always also looking to how can practices differentiate themselves too, right? How do we be different? How do you stand out amongst this sea of competition and in commoditization? And you guys often hear me saying, as it relates to the training, what is different is you. Like, you're the only one that can make that experience, that opportunity, the outcome, the phone call, the conversions, the treatment plan. All of those things are not, to be dismissed and to really take into consideration. So, Tim, this was amazing. Tribe, if you are interested in learning more about Revian's product and how you can get it, or all the good things that Tim has to offer. Tim, how can the tribe reach you or find you?
Basically, our website is www.revian.com. And again, my name is Tim, Tim Waite, Waite, and I can be reached at twaite@revian.com. So Twaite, Twaite @revian.com.
Don't stalk him, guys. Listen, I don't think he's single. But listen, serious. If you guys are interested, I encourage you to reach out to Tim. If you want to DM me, Facebook me, Instagram, you guys know how to find me on all my channels. There will be notes in the podcast, notes with a link to the website to Revian. So thank you, Tim, so much for being with me today and for taking an opportunity to really bring some value and some education to the market. I think this is going to be a big hit in the industry, and I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to work with you further.
Thank you, Terry. Always a pleasure.
All right, guys. Well, thank you again so much for tuning in to In Touch with Terry. Love you so much. Again, please don't hesitate to share this with somebody that you think could value from this. Leave a comment, share. I'm always so appreciative, and this is what helps other people in the industry. So we'll see you on the next episode of In Touch with Terry. Ciao.
Thanks for listening to In Touch with Terry. We invite you to schedule a discovery call with our Apex team. The link to apexplatform.com can be found in the show notes. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode of In Touch with Terry.